Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud Learn to Lead. This is Ashu and today we will discuss very important current affairs of 17th of July 2021. You can see two best images of the day, but today we will discuss very important and the most important current affairs. So watch this video till last. But I am requesting you all the students that you can download our application. Application link is given in the description box. You can download from that link. And after that you can log in with your email ID. And after that you can click on this crack current affairs section to subscribe our current affairs for 1 year as well as for 2 years. Both the subscription prices are very much low. If you see the price, you will definitely surprise. But the most important thing that we are covering 90 to 95% of those current affairs which can come in your exam. This is the genuinity. This is the hard work of Affairs Cloud team. But how we are covering this current affair? We are providing you daily section. In the daily section, you will receive three type of things. One is detailed current affair, question and answer format, and the quiz section which you can attempt on an application on daily basis. Next is the weekly. Again, you will receive three type of things. One is the detailed current affair, question and answer format of current affair, and the quiz section which you can attempt on an application on weekly basis. Next is the monthly, and you will receive four type of PDFs. One is the detailed current affair, question and answer format of current affair, and the best 100 current affair which will be provided to you in the form of question and answer. And next is the pocket PDF. It means the 2-liner and the 3-liner current affairs will be provided to you so that you can revise the current affair in quick format before your exam. But to enhance your performance, we are also providing topic wise current affair. We are covering 20 most important topics for every type of exam. And guys, remember that from these type of PDFs, you can cover all the related news just from single topic. It means if you want to cover all the related news of one topic, then you have to pick this PDF and you can revise all the current affairs from this PDF. And guys, remember, if you are a banking student, then we are providing three type of things. One is the detail and the question and answer format of current affairs only related to banking and economy, and the quiz section that you can attempt on our application on monthly basis. Next, exam PDF. If you want to revise all the past current affair of 2021, then you can just pick this exam PDF. And guys, we are also providing detailed budget and economic survey, and we are also providing expected question and answer which examiner can ask from budget and economic survey. And guys, we are also providing state current affair to enhance your state performance. It means if you are preparing for your state exam, then state current affairs definitely help you, and we are covering every state and union territory. So there is no different subscription for these topics. We are providing all these things under one subscription. You have to just download our application Careers Cloud from the description box link, and you can log in with your email ID. And after clicking on this crack current affair section, you can subscribe for 1 year as well as for 2 years. Both the subscription prices are very much low. If you see the price, you will definitely surprise. But on that minimal price, we are providing 10% extra discount if you use this code ASH10. And guys, if you have any query, you can email us on this number and or this ID. So let's start today's current affair, that is 17th of July 2021. But I am requesting you all the students that you have to like this video, share this video as maximum as possible, and please subscribe our channel if you are new on this platform. And guys, remember to join our Telegram group from the description box link. And here is the first question in the most important section. India and which country participated in a tabletop exercise 2021? It is also known as TTX, Tabletop Exercise 2021 on Maritime Security. So TTX 2021 was basically organized by Maritime Warfare Center, which is situated in Mumbai, and it was happened in 14th and 15th of July 2021. And it was happened between India, Sri Lanka and Maldives. So it means answer of this question is D, both A and B. So guys, remember, India is holding discussions with the countries in the Indian Ocean region as per its neighborhood first policy and security and growth for all in the region, like India Pacific region. And guys, you can see here, India, Sri Lanka and Maldives conduct trilateral tabletop exercise. Also remember the keyword here, that is TTX 2021. It will enhance mutual understanding, enhancing and exchanging best practices and procedures for countering common transnational crimes. So remember this. And India along with Sri Lanka and Maldives agreed to enhance maritime security cooperation in the Indian Ocean region. This area is very important for India because China is dominating under this area, but we have to basically reduce the dominance of the China under this area. So we have to tie up with the other countries in the Indian Ocean region. And India is holding discussions with the country in the Indian Ocean region as per its neighborhood first policy and the Sagar mission. And you have to remember this Sagar mission, that is security and growth for all in the region policy. And guys, two countries are there. One is Sri Lanka, second is Maldives. Remember about Sri Lanka, president is Gotabaya Rajapaksa, and capital is Colombo, and you can say Shri Javardhane Purekotte, and currency is Sri Lankan rupee. So this is Sri Lanka. And remember about Maldives. Maldives president is Ibrahim Mohammed Soli. You have to remember the name. This is important. Capital is Male and currency is Rufiya. Move into next question. Which state will host second edition of Khelo India University Games in March 2022? Yesterday we covered one question about the Khelo India Youth Games, which was scheduled to be held in 2021, but now it will be scheduled to be happen in 2022. It will be hosted by Haryana, but we are talking about Khelo India Youth Games. Now we are talking about Khelo India University Games. So in March 2022, it will be hosted by Karnataka. So guys, remember the name of the state. It is Karnataka. So Karnataka will host second edition of Khelo India University Games, which will be hosted by Karnataka on 5th of March 2022. And it is a 12-day event basically, you can say here. Karnataka, the host of second edition of Khelo India University Games, and it is 12-day long event, and it will be conducted from 5th March of 2022 in Bengaluru. Exact one place, that is Bengaluru. And over 6,000 person and 158 universities, because it is a university game. So 158 universities are expected to participate in this event with an estimated budget of almost 40 crore rupees. Total of 18 sporting events will be conducted under the Khelo India University Games with the inclusion of two newly indigenous games. One is the Yogasan, second is the Malakhambh. So we already discussed these about games. And remember about Khelo India program. Annually, 1,000 sports person will be selected for the Khelo India scholarship, who will receive 5 lakh rupees as a financial assistance for their training for a period of 8 years. It means 5 lakh rupees will be given for their training, and it is for the time period of 8 years. And first edition of Khelo India University Games was basically conducted by Kaling Institute, which is situated in Odisha. So it means the first edition was hosted by Odisha, and the exact place is Bhubaneswar. And which university was on the top position? That was Punjab University, which is situated in Punjab, basically which is situated in Chandigarh, that is the capital of Punjab and Haryana. And this Punjab University was the champion of the first edition of Khelo India University Game that was held in 2020. So guys, remember there are a lot of information you can remember, and this is the second edition. First edition is hosted by Odisha, and now second edition will be hosted by Karnataka. But guys, you have to remember about Karnataka. Karnataka's chief minister, again very important, that is Yediyurappa ji, and governor recently appointed Thawarchand Gehlot ji. And very important national parks are there, guys. Bandipur National Park is there. Banerghatta National Park, again very important, Banerghatta. Dandeli Tiger Reserve, again very important. Kali Tiger Reserve is also there. Kudremukh Tiger Reserve. Kudremukh basically very famous iron ore mine. That's why I always told you this, that Kudremukh is very important. Kudremukh iron ore mine and Kudremukh National Park is very important. So Bandipur, Banerghatta, Dandeli, Kali Tiger Reserve and Kudremukh, these are very important national parks in Karnataka. Move on to next question. Who became the first woman cricketer to be banned for doping? Guys, you have to just remember the question as in slide. Just remember this question. Who became the first woman cricketer to be banned for doping? And this woman cricketer belongs to Madhya Pradesh. Especially the Madhya Pradesh students, you have to remember this. Answer of this question is Anshula Rao. Remember, Anshula Rao. So Anshula Rao, a woman cricketer from Madhya Pradesh, was banned for a time period of 4 years by the National Anti-Doping Agency after failing a dope test. And she is the first woman cricketer to be banned for the use of illegal substances, and it is to enhance a performance, and you can say for consuming a performance enhancing steroid. So remember the name, just Anshula Rao, and she was banned for the time period of 4 years, and she belongs to which state? She belongs to Madhya Pradesh. So all the most important questions we covered. Now we are moving to the very important questions. But guys, you have to like this video, You have to share this video as maximum as possible, and you have to subscribe this channel if you are new on this platform. Definitely by providing these three things, you are motivating us and you are supporting us. And guys, please join our Telegram group from the description box link. And here is the question. Institute of Teaching and Research in Ayurveda signed a memorandum of understanding with which state to strengthen Ayurveda education? So guys, again, this is very important because we are talking about a new institution. This is known as Institute of Teaching and Research in Ayurveda. And this institution is situated in Jamnagar. So Jamnagar is in Gujarat. So they tied up with the state of Gujarat. So answer of this question is B. You can see here, memorandum of understanding signed between the Institute of Teaching and Research in Ayurveda and Gujarat government to strengthening the Ayurveda education in Gujarat state. And guys, you can remember it comes under the Ministry of Ayurveda. You can say Ministry of Ayush, basically, that is Ayurveda, Yoga, Neuropathy, Unani, Siddha, Swarigpa and the Homeopathy. So remember, Ministry of Ayush here. This is important. And this ministry signed a memorandum of understanding with the government of Gujarat to unite all the institutions functioning in the Ayurveda campus in Jamnagar, Gujarat under one umbrella. And guys, remember, it is to strengthen the education system in all branches of Ayurveda. You can say all branches of Ayurveda or all branches of Ayush, that is Yoga, Neuropathy, Unani. So all branches will be covered. And guys, remember, this Institute of Teaching and Research in Ayurveda Bill 2020 was introduced in Lok Sabha by the Ministry of Ayush. After that, this institution was established. Remember this institution. This is the most important thing under this question. And this institution headquarters is in Jamnagar. And this enabled the establishment of the state-of-art of Ayurvedic institution called the Institute of Teaching and Research in Ayurveda, which is in Jamnagar, Gujarat. So all the Ayurveda institutions which work under this Jamnagar Gujarat institution, so they will come under one umbrella and they will work for the strengthening of all the branches of Ayurveda. So this is important thing. And guys, remember about Gujarat again. Gujarat Chief Minister is Vijay Rupani and Governor is Acharya Devvrat. And guys, very important national parks are there, like Marine National Park, Black Buck National Park. There is Gir Forest, there is Wildlife Sanctuary. Again, very important things are there. I am repeating again, Marine, Black Buck, Gir Forest and Wildlife Sanctuary. These are very important national parks and wildlife sanctuary in Gujarat. And you can also remember about Vansada National Park, that is also in Gujarat. Moving to next question. FEDI, an artificial intelligence powered virtual assistant, was launched by which bank? So FEDI, you have to remember the keyword here. And this is the name of virtual assistant which was launched by one bank, and this bank is Federal Bank. So guys, remember, FED is an artificial intelligence powered virtual assistant which was launched by Federal Bank to provide 24/7 assistance to its customers on banking related queries. And it is a 24/7 assistance which will be provided to the customers of the Federal Bank on banking related queries. And FEDI is a state-of-art tool that can also be integrated with the Assist through like Alexa, Google Assistant, WhatsApp. And Federal Bank previously launched, like you can say, Fed Selfie. You have to remember, this is launched by Federal Bank by the name FEDI. You can guess that it is launched by Federal Bank, and it is a user-friendly tool that allows users to open a bank account by taking selfies. So this is Fed Selfie. And you have to remember, one virtual platform was also launched which is known as Federal 24/7. This is also launched by Federal Bank, and the users can open bank account through video call by Federal 24/7. And the users can open a bank account and by just taking a selfie, that is Fed Selfie. So these are the initiatives which are basically taken by the Federal Bank in the COVID-19 situation, when you can't basically physically you can say visit the branch. Then you can use these type of methods in the Federal Bank. And now they launched this FEDI. This is a virtual assistant, and it will solve your problem of the any banking related queries. So guys, remember, and move into next question. Which institute and Sony India will conduct national hackathon which is known as Samvedan 2021? So remember the keyword here. Keyword here is the Samvedan 2021. And answer of this question is IIT Madras. So guys, just remember the question as in slide. This is important, and answer is B. And it is a national hackathon, and it is called Samvedan 2021, and the caption is Sensing Solutions for Bharat. So basically it aims to develop an ecosystem to solve problems of national importance, and it is to inspire Indian citizens to solve India's specific problems of the societal interest using the Internet of Things sensor board. And guys, remember, winners will get prize money as well as the entrepreneurial sports scheme by the IIT Madras Parvartak Technology Foundation, or you can just remember IIT Madras. And the challenge is an effective method to identify, nurture and commercialize solution for them. So just remember Samvedan 2021, it is launched by IIT Madras and Sony India, and it is for sensing solutions for Bharat. It means the India specific problems can be solved and the ideas will be provided by Indian citizens, and the best ideas will be awarded with some prize money, and it will be given by the IIT Madras Parvartak Technologies Foundation, or you can just remember IIT Madras. Moving to next question. United Nations Development Program India have collaborated with which state to empower women and youth in the state? So answer again very simple, because we are again talking about the state of Karnataka. So it means United Nations Development Program India and Karnataka state has collaborated to empower women and youth in the Karnataka. So basically it is not only a type of United Nations Development Program, it is also a type of SAP. SAP stands for SAP Labs India. And the United Nations Development Program India have collaborated with the government of Karnataka, and it is to provide digital skills and the social entrepreneurship skills in the rural Karnataka. And you can see here, it is to enhance access to career guidance, employment and the entrepreneurship opportunities, and to promote the digital skills to empower the women and the youth of the Karnataka. So as a part of the World Youth Skills Day, we covered this question, that World Youth Skill Day was celebrated on the 15th of July. So on that day, Mission Director of the National Livelihood Mission in Karnataka, you don't have to remember the name, they initiated the Code Unnati. You have to remember this Code Unnati registration drive for women, and its main objective to impart digital literacy to women and youth from the rural Karnataka. And guys, remember this Code Unnati works with academia, government institutions at the state and the district level, and incubation centers, civil society and others to create a sustainable impact. Because the Code Unnati is set to reach more than 20,000 youths and the 5,000 women in Karnataka to the next 3 years, and they are basically trained for the next level entrepreneurship skills. So this is the basic motive of the Karnataka state and the United Nations Development Program and the SAP Labs or SAP Labs India. So you have to remember, it is just to provide the digital skills and the social entrepreneurship skills to the rural Karnataka, so that maximum to maximum employment can be generated and they can earn more in the next financial year, in the next 3 years, because the target is next 3 years. And guys, remember about recent related news that Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa ji launched an online portal named Akanksha. Remember Akanksha. And it is a details on all the corporate social responsibility activities, and it is to provide comprehensive details on all the corporate social responsibility activities in the state, and it is the first of its kind initiative in India. Especially it will provide all the information related to corporate social responsibility. And guys, you can also remember under this news about the United Nations Development Program. SAP is not so much important. Remember about UNDP. Its headquarters is in New York. Where is United Nations headquarters? The United Nations Development Program also headquartered in New York, and it was established in 1965 by the General Assembly of the United Nations. Move to next question, because we discussed about the Karnataka. Now next question is, who launched a training program for the school teachers named School Innovation Ambassador Training Program? So you have to remember the keyword here, that is School Innovation Ambassador Training Program. And guys, it is launched by the Education Ministry and also by the Tribal Affairs Ministry. So it means if we are talking about Education Ministry, it means I am talking about Dharmendra Pradhan, and if I am talking about the Tribal Minister, then we are talking about Arjun Munda. It means answer of this question is both A and C. Answer of this question is D. And you can see here both the pictures, like Dharmendra Pradhan, our new Education Minister, and Tribal Affairs Minister Arjun Munda ji launched the School Innovation Ambassador Training Program for the 50,000 school teachers. It means the school teachers will be trained under this program. And guys, you can see here the main name is School Innovation Ambassador Training Program, which is also known as SIATP. And Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan and Tribal Affairs Minister Arjun Munda jointly launched this training program. And you can see here 50,000 school teachers will be trained online in the field of innovation, entrepreneurship, intellectual property rights, idea generation, and the etc. things. Like this program is basically formed by Ministry of Education, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, CBSE is there, All India Council for Technical Education is there, and it will also benefit the children of the Ekalavya Model Residential Schools, because Ekalavya Model Residential School was the program developed for the tribal children, and the Tribal Affairs Ministry plans to establish 740 Ekalavya Model Residential Schools in the tribal area over the next 3 years. It means this is the target for the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. So it will definitely you can say provide the entrepreneurship, innovation, and the intellectual property rights and other things to the school teachers, especially in the tribal areas, and the tribal students can be educated very easily. So guys, remember about Ministry of Education, new Union Minister is Dharmendra Pradhan, and remember about the constituency is in Madhya Pradesh. And you can also remember Minister of Tribal Affairs is Arjun Munda, and constituency is Khunti. Khunti is in Jharkhand. Here is another name. You can see here Annapurna Devi. She was recently appointed. She was appointed as Minister of State of Education. Remember, Minister of State for Education. And she basically belongs to Jharkhand. Her constituency is Kodarma in Jharkhand. But constituency is not so much important because we are talking about Minister of State. You have to just remember the name Annapurna Devi, and she is the Minister of State for Education. Now we are moving to the next question. Who authored a book titled India versus China? Again, we are talking about India and China and why they are not friends. So this is explained under a book, and this book is written by Kanti or the Kanti Vajpayee. You have to remember the name Kanti Vajpayee, and very interesting book because it tells us about why India and China are not friends. And guys, remember the book has a short version of the history of India and China ties, and you can see here India versus China and why they are not friends, and it is written by Kanti Vajpayee. And guys, it is also recommended by very famous historian, that is Ramchandar Guha, so you can also remember about him. And the author points out 4 crucial areas that affect the two nations relationship, like you can say continued disagreements over the border areas, changing partnership with the America and the Russia, and the growing power asymmetry between them. So these are the basic areas under, you can say, the 4 crucial areas that affect the two nation relationship. So guys, you have to just remember the name of the book, India versus China and why they are not friend, and it is written by Kanti Vajpayee. But another 3 authors are here, like B, C, and D options. You can see here the first is Supriya Paul, and very famous author. She recently wrote a book, All You Need is Josh. So that is very important. All You Need is Josh, and it is a story of courage and conviction in 21st century India. And next is Salman Rushdie, again very famous author, and he wrote a book about languages of truth, and it is an essay between 2003 to 2020. Next is Kajal Suri, and she wrote a book about Habba Khatun. Remember Habba Khatun. So all the books are very, very important. You have to remember this, and we are moving to the next question. Who signed a memorandum of understanding with Bureau of Police Research and Development for gender sensitization of public or the police personnel across India? So guys, again, this question is very important because we are talking about Bureau of Police Research and Development, and they tied up with the one organization, very important organization, and it is for the gender sensitization of the police personnel across India. And it is National Knowledge Commission. No, this is not the answer, not National Knowledge Commission, not the Niti Ayog, and answer of this question is National Commission for Women. Answer of this question is C. So guys, remember National Commission for Women, and you can see here this is the chairman of National Commission for Women. Who is this lady? This is Rekha Sharma. So guys, remember the name Rekha Sharma. And you can see here it is to provide training, and it will be conducted for a duration of 3 to 5 days as a short intensive course which expected training of 18 to 24 hours in total. It means total like 24 hours training will be provided in 3 to 5 days, and it will be provided to the Bureau of Police Research and Development, and the training will focus on the gender issues because we were talking about gender sensitization and women related laws and role of implementing agencies along with the sharing of best practices. So guys, remember the main objective is to bring changes in attitude and behavior of police officers dealing with crimes against women. This is the main objective. And remember about National Commission for Women, we already told you that who is currently the chairman. It is Rekha Sharma. So remember this. Now we are moving to next question. Which ministry launched the nationwide campaign which is known as COVID Tika Sang Surakshit Van Dan or Udyam? So you have to remember the name of the campaign and you can guess that it is related to one. It means it is related to forest. And the people who are basically dependent on forest, they are tribal people, and that's why the ministry is Ministry of Tribal Affairs. So guys, remember the ministry is Ministry of Tribal Affairs. By default, Union Minister of Tribal Affairs is Shri Arjun Munda. Virtually launched the initiative which is known as COVID Tika Sang Surakshit Van Dan or Udyam. And you can see here, it is to increase the spread of COVID-19 vaccination among the tribal people in India. And the campaign would be implemented by the Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India, which is also known as TriFed, and it comes under the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, and the total project cost is 10.5 crore, and it will be spent on the tribal population for this campaign. And the campaign is launched in partnership with the World Health Organization and United Nations Children Fund. You can also remember this. And the campaign intends to make the Vandhan Vikas Kendra and the villages become the first to be declared COVID-19 free. And three highlights of the campaign is: one is Jeevan, that is life, Jivika, livelihood, and Jagrukta, that is awareness for the COVID-19 vaccination. And guys, you can also remember we were talking about the Vandhan Kendras. Vandhan Kendras are basically scheme by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, and this scheme is launched in 2018. And it is launched with the help of the TriFed, and TriFed as the nodal agency at the national level to create livelihood generation for the tribal gatherers and they transform them into the entrepreneurs. And Arjun Mundaji also launched the digital directory under the TriFed Digital Connect program. You can also remember it is digital directory under TriFed, which is known as Digital Connect program. It means all the official data about the directors, about the working people of the TriFed can be seen under this Digital Connect program. And guys, remember about TriFed. This is important. Who is currently the managing director? Managing director is Praveer Krishna. You can remember the name Praveer Krishna. And this organization was established in 1987. And it is a nodal agency of the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. And guys, you can also remember about Arjun Mundaji. We already covered. Arjun Mundaji constituency is Khunti in Jharkhand. Moving to next question. Which state has launched a face recognition mobile application which is known as Pensioners Life Certificate Verification to help the pensioners? So again, this question is very important, and this application is launched by the Meghalaya government. Remember, this artificial intelligence face recognition mobile application which is known as Pensioners Life Certificate Verification is launched by Meghalaya government. And you can see here, Meghalaya comes up with the mobile application on pensioners' life certificate using face recognition. It is to check whether the pensioner is basically live or not. And the application will enable an interface for the pensioners with the pension disbursing authority to prove that they are alive or not. And it is a deep learning artificial intelligence technology which is used to authenticate the pensioner from real-time photographers. And this application will assist the pensioner of the state government to submit their life certificate through mobile phones and receive the pensions during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. And face verification technology will be used to verify their identity. And the frequency of face verification for the pensioner is once in 6 months or twice in a year. And it is to provide a better end-to-end delivery of service. And they also launched a chatbot which is known as Meda. So guys, you can remember it is a name of the chatbot and the name is Meda, and it has been incorporated with this application. And guys, you can remember it allows pensioners to make queries and provide suggestions to improve the service of the application. So if you have any query, especially the pensioners, then they can use this chatbot and they can get the answers. And guys, remember about the state Meghalaya, very important. Chief Minister is Konark Sangma. And Governor is Satyapal Malik. And remember, two national parks are very important. One is the Balpakram National Park, and second is Nokrek National Park. So moving to next question. What is the name of the digital platform which was launched by Union Minister for Agriculture to help farmers and get right information? So this is launched by Union Ministry of Agriculture, and it is to provide the best to best information to the farmers at right time. And this application name is Kisan Sarthi. So answer of this question is D. And you can see here the picture. That digital platform Kisan Sarthi launched to facilitate farmers to get right information at right time, and it will be provided in the vernacular language. It means it is provided in the desired language, and it can be used by any type of the farmer from any state. So it is very important. And guys, remember, it is jointly launched by the Union Minister of Agriculture, that is Narendra Singh Tomar ji. Remember Narendra Singh Tomar, that is the old minister, not changed. And Union Minister for Electronics and Information Technology, that is changed, guys. You have to remember the name. It is Ashwini Vaishnav. Ashwini Vaishnav. Remember the new Union Minister for Electronics and Information Technology is Ashwini Vaishnav. Again, very important question. And guys, remember the farmers can interact and make use of personalized advisories on agriculture and allied areas directly from the respective scientists of the Krishi Vigyan Kendra through this application, which is known as Krishi or the Kisan Sarthi. And guys, you can also remember that the initiative will help in addressing the location specific information needs of the farmers, as well as the agriculture extension, education and the research activities of Indian Council of Agriculture Research. And even the railways ministry is also making a plan to minimize the time taken to transport the crops, so that maximum to maximum benefit will be provided to farmers, and we can basically cover the target of 2022, in which we have to double the income of farmers. And guys, remember about Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Narendra Singh Tomar ji, whose constituency is Morina from Madhya Pradesh. And Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, that is very important, Ashwini Vaishnav. You have to remember the name, Ashwini Vaishnav. And his constituency is basically, his member of Rajya Sabha from Odisha. He is also Union Minister of Railway. Remember, I am talking about this because he is a new minister. That's why. He is a new Minister of Railway. He is a new Minister of Communication. He is a new Minister of Electronics and Information. These three portfolios comes under Ashwini Vaishnav: Railway, Communication and Electronics and Information. And his constituency is Odisha. He is a member of Rajya Sabha. Remember this. Now we are moving to the next question. Coal India Limited has appointed which company as a consultant to enhance their performance, especially to enhance or to digitalize the 7 mines of the Coal India Limited? And this company is Accenture. So guys, remember, it is very static question. You can remember the question as in slide. You can see here Coal India appointed Accenture for the digitalization of the mines. And you can also see here it is to enhance their performance through the digitalization of 7 mines, especially 3 mines in the southern eastern coal fields, and 4 mines in the northern coal fields. And it is the first of its kind initiative by the company to utilize digitalization to increase the coal production. Its main aim to use the available data analytic techniques to increase mine productivity and project efficiency through the effective system management. Guys, you have to remember about Coal India Limited. Coal India Limited chairman cum managing director is Pramod Agarwal. Headquarter is in Calcutta, and it was established in 1975 when emergency was applied. Then it was established. Next, you can see here the very famous face and very versatile actor, one of my favorite actress, and you can say the very versatile actor, and she was also the 3-time national award winning, but she died recently due to cardiac arrest, and name is Surekha Sikri. You have to remember, I think many students remember with the Daisa or the Baisa, I think the name, because it was very famous serial, and the name of the series was Balika Badu. I think many students remember this. And she was 3-time national award winner. Remember, she was 3-time national award winner. Basically, she won the first national award for best sporting actress for her performance in the movie Tamas. In 1988. Then she received the first national award. And she won the national award, the best sporting actress, in 1995. And in 2018 for the Badai Ho movie. And her first movie in 1978 was Kissa Kursika. And she was starred in Netflix anthology in the last year in 2020. The name of the anthology was Ghost series, and it was directed by Zoya Akhtar. And she also received Sangeet Natak Academy Award in 1989 for his contribution to Hindi literature, and he was born in New Delhi. But now he was residing in Mumbai, but he was born in New Delhi. So guys, you can remember, she was also starred in television series like Sanja Chula, Kabhi Kabhi, CID and Balika Vadu. Balika Vadu was very famous. Now we are moving to next question. So it is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. You can see here the smiling face of Narendra Modi ji, and he inaugurated and laid the foundation stone of various developmental projects in Varanasi, because he visited recently Varanasi. The first project you can see here is the 100-bed mother-child hospital wing in Banaras Hindu University. You can remember if you want. Otherwise, it is like not so much famous or not so much important. So just remember 100-bed mother and child hospital, especially for the UP students. You can remember. And next is important, guys. You have to remember this Rudraksh Kendra. It is an international cooperation and convention center. It was also inaugurated by Modi ji, and it was launched by Modi ji in Varanasi. You can see here the picture of this convention center. This look like this. And Prime Minister Modi ji inaugurated the International Cooperation and Convention Center named as Rudraksh in Varanasi. So remember the name of this convention center. This is important, Rudraksh. So the total cost of this project is 200 crore rupees. 200 crore rupees. And guys, remember the center has been built with the financial assistance from the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, or you can say JICA, which provided 200 crore rupees for this convention center. And the foundation stone was laid by Japanese Prime Minister in 2015, and then Prime Minister was Shinzo Abe. So he basically you can say laid the foundation stone of this Rudraksh Cooperation and the Convention Center. And the center will make Varanasi an attractive destination for the conferences and will draw more tourists and the business person to the Varanasi. And Prime Minister Modi ji also launched Prashad Scheme Phase 2. So you have to remember the name of this scheme, which is known as Prashad. Prashad stands for National Mission on Pilgrimage, Rejuvenation and Spiritual Heritage Augmentation Drive. I am repeating myself so that you can remember: Pilgrimage, Rejuvenation and Spiritual Heritage Augmentation Drive. It is a central sector scheme launched by the Ministry of Tourism. In which year? It was launched in 2014-15. It is specially for the pilgrimage places, and it aims to integrate development of identified pilgrimage and heritage destination through infrastructural development. And it includes operation of the cruise boat from Assi Ghat to Rajghat. I think it is covered. Yes, you can see here. Roro vessel for tourism development on river Ganga. So it is basically a cruise boat from Assi Ghat to Rajghat under the project development of river cruise in Varanasi under the Prashad scheme. So it is the second phase of the Prashad scheme. Now we are moving to the next section. It is our important question section, guys. You have to like this video, share this video as maximum as possible, and you have to subscribe this channel if you are new on this platform. And guys, please join our Telegram group from the description box link. And here is the question: who chaired 7th BRICS Labour and Employment Ministers meeting? All the students know this. If you are watching the Affairs Cloud, definitely you know this, that BRICS chairmanship of 2021 lies with India, because last year in 2020 it lies with Russia, but now it lies with India. It means it is hosted by one of the Indian minister. By default, it is hosted by the Union Minister of Labour and Employment, and the new Minister of Labour and Employment is Bhupender Yadav. So guys, remember Bhupender Yadav. So they talked on the issue of the formalization of labor market, especially the BRICS countries talked about the issue of formalization of the labor markets, and BRICS reiterated their commitment to enhance the transition from informality to the formality. And you can see here Bhupender Yadav, Union Minister of Labour and Employment, chaired the 7th BRICS or Labour Employment Ministers meeting. So guys, they exchanged the views on the impact of COVID-19 on the global labor market, and main emphasis were laid on the need of signing a social security agreement amongst the BRICS nations to promote welfare of the international migrant workers, especially the women migrant workers. And BRICS countries also agreed on the sustained participation of the women in the labor market, and also supported the development of the digital economy. So remember this is very, very important. Moving to next section, it is our one-liner important point, and here is the first point. Not so much important, but you have to remember the target that first we have to change the color to red. India targets rupees 100 billion blue economy through Deep Ocean Mission. So again, it is important because Deep Ocean Mission plans to explore various mineral resources present unexplored in the ocean, which can be used for the commercial purposes to generate newer economic forums. That's why we are targeting 200 billion blue economy. And the ministry also partnered with the ISRO for integrating science-oriented departments from various ministries. And it is basically launched by Minister of State Independent Charge, Earth Science, and Union Minister is Jitendra Singh of Minister of State Independent Charge for Earth Sciences. Next is RBI restricted Mastercard. We covered this question yesterday. Till the 20, you can say the time period starting from 22nd July, they can't issue any domestic debit card or the credit card, and that's why RBL bank ties up with the Visa to issue credit cards. So guys, this is just information, because RBI restricted Mastercard. So the banks who partner with the Mastercard now basically searching the more options like Visa, Razorpay. So RBL bank tie up with the Visa. Now moving to next, Karnataka inked MOU with the 23 companies to attract over 28 lakh crore investment. It is just information, not so much important, especially for the Karnataka student. You can note this line. Next, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh launched artificial intelligence powered grievance management application. So guys, you can just remember, it is during the, you can say, one function of the Defense Ministry. Rajnath Singh ji launched artificial intelligence powered grievance management application. The application name is CP Gram. So you can remember the name CP Gram. And what is the meaning of CP Gram? It is centralized public grievance redress and monitoring system. Remember, I am repeating again, centralized public grievance redress and monitoring system application. It was developed by the Ministry of Defense along with the Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. You can remember, it is also developed by the IIT Kanpur with the help of Ministry of Defense. And this web-based application is the first system developed based on the artificial intelligence, data science, and the machine learning technique to improve the public grievance redressal system of the government. And the artificial intelligence tool of this application has the ability to understand the content of the people complaints or the grievances and would automatically analyze it. So it is for the public grievances, and name of this application is CP Gram. Next, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar ji addressed 16th Confederation of Indian Industry and Export-Import Bank Conclave on India and Africa Project Partnership. So it is for the India and you can say the Africa Partnership, and the theme is harnessing the Africa India opportunity, connect, create and collaborate. And especially the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar ji stated 4 domains to be focused through collaboration. One is like public health, one is health, second is digital delivery, next is capacity building, and fourth one is green economy. So these are the 4 major domains to be focused according to External Affairs S. Jaishankar ji. And around, according to our external ministry, around 39% of the government of India's ported lines of credit are directed to Africa for infrastructure development, industrialization, agriculture and agro-processing project. So 39% of the line of credit given to the African countries. So this is stated by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar ji. Next, Bangladesh, Mohammad Ullah retires from Test cricket. Again, you can just remember the name. Bangladeshi cricketer Mohammad Ullah announced retirement from the Test cricket in the middle of ongoing Test series between Bangladesh and Zimbabwe after scoring a century in the 50th international Test match. So just remember the name, Bangladesh player Mohammad Ullah. Moving to next question, it is the question of the day, that is the 16th of July 2021. Question was very simple. Question was, when was liberalized remittance scheme established? So guys, the important word here is liberalized remittance scheme. So in view of comfortable position of foreign exchange reserves of India, liberalized remittance scheme was launched on the 4th of February 2004. So answer of this question is B guys, exact answer. And the regulations are provided under the FIMA Act, or you can say Foreign Exchange Management Act of 1999. And after it was launched, the liberalized remittance scheme limit was $25,000 when it was started in 2004. $25,000 was limit, but it has been revised in the stages consistent and prevailing macro and the microeconomic condition. At present, liberalized remittance scheme for all the resident individuals, including minors in United States of America, is $250,000. Remember, the starting year, the limit was $25,000. Now it is $250,000 per financial year. Per financial year, not for the lifetime. Under this liberalized remittance scheme, individuals can make remittance for the overseas education, travel, medical treatment, maintenance to relatives living abroad, gifting and donation, and so other purposes. The remitted money can be used for purchase of shares and property as well. It was not added in the starting, but it was added later on. And individuals can also open, maintain and hold foreign currency accounts with overseas banks for carrying out transactions in it. So you have to just remember what is liberalized remittance scheme. It was launched in 2004 It comes under the FAME Act of 1999. The regulations basically come under this act. Earlier, the limit was $25,000, but now it is $250,000. This is simple. Move on to next question, and it is the question of the day. In which year National Electronic Fund Transfer System started in India? Very simple question. We are talking about NEFT, not RTGS. We are talking about NEFT. And you have to tell me answer only in the comment box. This is the most important question for the banking students. And guys, please provide us likes. Please subscribe our channel. Please share this video as maximum as possible. And by doing this, you are basically supporting us and you are motivating us. And guys, remember, please press this bell button and join our Telegram group for the official notifications. And if you're watching the Affairs Cloud current affairs from our videos, and if you're reading the PDFs, then definitely your confidence will go strong. And guys, remember to subscribe our PDF. You have to download our application. Application downloading link is given in the description box. And you can subscribe for 1 year as well as for 2 years. Both the subscription prices are very much low. If you see the price, you will definitely surprise, but we are providing 10% extra discount on that minimal price, and we are also providing this discount code ASH10. And guys, don't take life so much serious. Life is fun. Always be happy. Thank you for watching this video and take care. Bye bye.